Alright, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Great Teacher Onizuka, Episode 9.
Gunyo has been dealt with.
Yes. This whole show, every time it brings us like closer to Onizuka's like specific ways of handling each student, that's the thing that just gets me. So I'm really excited for potentially the one student that's been hyped up a lot, Aizawa, being handled by Onizuka in this episode.
I think it is time for another boss fight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe actually it would be fun to see him like having to handle a big L, you know, like something that would be like really tough for him to like solve,
or maybe
and
like
maybe a
some more
student
of her
has to come in
minions.
to help and stuff, like Yoshikawa.
Sure. That could be good too.
Her minions.
Yeah, because before you get to the boss,
girls, her henchwomen.
Miss Nice Idea. You know.
Yes. Kunyo's not strictly on his side yet, though.
No, they've just agreed to hate each other in peace.
Exactly, right. And I think that's cool that they've come to somewhat of an understanding, although it's not for their own mutual benefit, it's for their own mutual, like, just kind of distance.
Right.
And, hey, that works. It's essentially a truce. With like a lot of posturing on each side.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like at the national level when everyone's just like, I'm a big country, and everyone's like, oh, I'm a big country. Well, we're not actually going to go to war with each other. No, we're don't never do that. No.
It's like, hold me back, guys. All right, let me at him. Yeah.
All right, guys, we're hyped. So without further ado, let's get into it.
It's those three letters that like are always like just the icing on the cake.
Yeah, seriously.
I feel like the opening and like the animation for it is kind of like a representation of Onizuka as a character, because it's kind of dated, it doesn't look the best, it's not very pretty, but it still just gets the point across and is a lot of fun.
So what you're saying is that this show is timeless?
Kind of, yes. Yes, it's timeless, but it looks like something that would otherwise just be like dated and like
right.
But because of the kind of show it is, it just
So at what point will this show not be timeless? Like
if it basically lost out on all the wholesome elements that go along with the comedy.
Gotcha. So the show needs to mess up. It has nothing to do with our times.
Right, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
That means you have a great show on your hands, guys.
Like, I don't know, maybe in 20 years I would like think differently, but
maybe
like,
in 20 years we'll forget what it's like to be 22.
Oh, that would be sad.
That would be sad. And we'll end up being the vice principal.
Ugh, no.
Oh my god. And then we're reminded what this show is Oh my gosh. Wow. This guy should not have this job. 32 years old and single.
So
this is going to be a rival for Onizuka then.
What? Onizuka, what? I get the feeling.
But a rocket!
Oh yes! Is this one of those like Diet Coke and Mentos rockets kind of things?
Withdraw! Alright, I like this. Because they're not taking any of his crap. Like, all the girls are being like, I hate this guy. Yeah! Oh,
see, this is one of the great situations where it's allowing us to basically identify and relate to the students that are rebelling against the teacher.
Yeah. Because it's a different teacher. It's not Onizuka. Yeah. But it's fun. He's like a race of his own.
それ以前にあいつ人間じゃねえよ。あとはやりたきゃお前らだけで勝手にやってくれや。
どうするみやび。あいつらまで抜けちゃったらクラスの半分は鬼塚側ってことじゃない。
Right. This is our power base is weakening.
Yeah.
みやび。
So they rule from the shadows.
Yeah.
That's what I would expect. Like,
信用できないんだ。
Are we gonna get backstory? Yeah, not violent at all. Oh wow. He
so
could
this
just
guy
get...
was already a problem. Like he knew this guy's has a proclivity to violence. Oh! Ah! Oh, that. What's great is that it's a dick metaphor as well. So it's like he just killed his boner for violence, you know. Oh. We would like to talk with you.
Yes, yes.
We must compete.
Yes.
Instead of violence.
Instead of fighting, that's too barbaric.
Right.
Oh.
I like it because it basically sounds like a finger snap.
But he keeps...
Oh, that one! Oh, that one! Oh,
it's so exaggerated.
Yes. On the ground, original blend. He's reading ingredients.
Wow.
Oh, they're gonna egg it on.
Well, they're thinking something about your form, but... I love how some of them are like fake.
Wait, no, you still got it. So, what's going on? Oh! So wait, are they puking because of they get to see his exposed body and stuff? He's doing impressions. He's gonna bet on himself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, make
While
the bets
he's
even
swimming.
make the odds even better. You have more than enough. With his hands in his pants. What is he doing? And he's smoking right beforehand too. Okay, we're going. Oh, Onizuka never is going to come above water. That's why he's gonna have the advantage. He's got so much like lung capacity.
Yeah, he's just gonna
go under and back under. Ah! He won! Whoa. Yeah, he dove all the way, yep.
While smoking.
Yes! Justice prevails.
最初から勝負するつもりなかったくせによ。空だぜ空。おめえの財布。
And they should really be doing like double or nothing on this, you know.
Right. Oh, are they gonna plant doping stuff in his locker?
She's gonna put it in the wrong one.
Oh. Here I am! Oh, boobs. Wow.
大きいね。サイズは？
F です。
F？中止だろお前。
触ってみます？いいですよ。
No. Onizuka, you have just enough sense to stop right there. Wow.
さすがみやび。
The worst part is, whose locker was that?
Exactly.
Is it a teacher's only locker area?
Right,
Because
so-
it might go to the, the gym teacher, the
Uh-huh,
PE
yeah.
teacher, which would be the best.
Yeah.
みやびちゃん、汚れって何？
Yogore?
よ、ご立派レディの略よ。とも
Yogore
ちゃん、ご
ready.
立派？立派立派。天然だよ、この子。
Yeah, I can tell.
だからトロコって呼
Now
ば
I
れるん
now
だ
I
よ
get
あん
what
た
it
は
means, yeah.
おっぱいに栄養取られすぎて頭に回ってないんじゃないの？
Ouch.
知ってる？
Shots
日本で
fired.
でしょ？高校入る頃には引きずってんじゃないの？
Oh my god, they're so mean.
That's right, this is junior high.
絶対探してください。学園の中に変態がいるかと思うと私たち怖くて授業受けられません。
私にお任せください。
Wow.
うちの持ち物検査をしましょう。
And he's suggesting
誰が犯
it.
人か一目瞭然。
Oh boy.
しかし袋田先生、
甘い。人の噂も75日。
Gossip
私が
lasts
ここで
for
ビシ
75
ッと犯
days.
人さえ捕まえてしまえば、鬼塚に負けたことなんてすぐに忘れ去られるはず。この袋田はじめが必ず
The internal
犯
thoughts.
人を捕まえてみせます。
Oh, ching.
先生が犯人って可能性もあるんじゃないですか。
何？
生徒はみんな授業を受けていました。アリ
What
バイ
if
が
he
ない
was
のは
already a
空き時間
panty
なく
thief,
先
like
生
a
たち
really sneaky one, and that's why
先
he's
生のロッカー
like,
も調べるべき
it
です
should have been one of the
Well,
students.
That I think that would just be
授業の中
extra
に鬼塚先
information.
生のロッカー
Right. He's got other stuff in there. It's not panties, but he's got other stuff. But see, his is the middle one.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. What do you think's actually gonna be in
何
there?
やれみっともない。
Watch, it's gonna be like
The
something. that helped-
photoshopped pictures.
Oh,
Oh
no!
no!
Photoshopped pictures. It could also be if he had something that helped him like win the swim race or something.
Oh.
あいつはブルマー
What
泥
what
棒。
silly things could be in there that are completely harmless?
Yeah, I kind of hope it's the photoshopped image. Oh, and it could be with what's her name,
Yeah, yeah.
Mitsuki or whatever her name is. Wait, that's his own underwear.
Oh.
Wait, is that where he keeps like his laundry and stuff?
Oh, it's his laundry! Oh god, that's gross!
なんでこんなに洗濯物を溜め込んでいるんだあなたは。鬼塚先生。
This is how you have a locker.
生徒の手本にならなければいけないのです。
He's gonna open his own. Oh my gosh, wow. Just because he wants to brag, it's going to...
バカな。きっと何かの間違い。でなければ悪い夢に決まってる。
どうしたんすか袋田先生。
Maybe he's the one
so
doping.
that's not actually what happened. That was just him imagining it.
No, no,
いや
no.
意外
That
がつい私
that
の上腕
happened.
がうなりを上げてしまった。
now it can't open.
私のロッカーは使い物にならないな。嫌だな。教師という生殖を全身全霊をかけて務め上げてきたこの袋田はじめ。
Why does he feel like a JoJo villain to me? Like
はずがないじゃないです
It's
か。
a shoulder span.
バカ女。なんで入れ間違うのよ。せっかくの作戦がパーじゃない。
oh, jeez.
That's rude. Can she not swim?
みたいなの頼んだのが間違いだったよ。そんなに深くない。
Wow.
二度と私に話しかけないで。
Wow.
犯人が見つからなかったわけですし、
Oh.
教師の間に大きな仕掛けをしてしまったことも
Aww. Okay.
Okay, I like this because it sets up actually new character arcs.
Yep.
Yeah, it sets up something where Onizuka is one that will be seen in some ways. Now, this is a weird way of looking at it, but he'll be seen as less of a pervert than
Right.
Fukuroda.
He might even be seen as a hero of justice.
Yes, it's possible. But the new girl, Mikabi. No.
No, Miyabi is just the
Miyabi
other name
is
for
one of the other-
Aizawa, I think.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, you're right. But it's
Miss.
we're calling Miss size F.
Yeah. Apparently she is.
But she's just looking to be accepted into the cool girls group.
Yep.
And, they take advantage of the fact that, she is a little slow. She's not, she's not able to, do kind of a lot of the on-the-fly thinking, quick critical thinking stuff that some of them do. But she's,
she's still a person.
She's still a person. And... Yeah.
Well, and the funny thing is that it's one of those things where it's the poetic justice for someone like Aizawa, because everything that she's doing is basically causing her empire to crumble faster.
Yes. Yes. So. It's a classic kind of cartoon antagonist thing where their own actions are their undoing.
Right, they hang themselves, kind of a thing.
But we are also seeing with every time Aizawa talks about a teacher, she uses a different word to describe them.
Yes, it is showing a bit more of who she is and why she does what she does, even though we don't know exactly.
Yep. Oh,
okay.
Wow, that was hilarious.
I'm very skeptical usually when basically fan service characters are brought in.
Yeah.
And this new girl, Toriko, is definitely a fan service character because they said multiple times in her introductory episode that she's an F cup. Yes.
Yeah.
But they also did things to basically show that she was not just the ditzy airhead with a large rack.
Yeah.
She has feelings, and those feelings can get hurt and all that stuff. And
she's a human being.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is something that I think is something that just needs to be said really quickly, is that this is a show that's going to be dealing with fan service
absolutely
all the time, constantly. And the reason for that is not actually because the characters are going to be created as fan service. It's that the perception of the aggressors, in this case Onizuka, is generally speaking one of those ones who's not I would say an aggressive aggressor, but he's a perceptive
his mind is in a very particular place and
mode. It's not necessarily the best place all the time. Right. And just saying there's nothing wrong with a girl being an F cup.
Oh, right.
14.
Yeah, it's more of just the thing of
that
like
can happen.
Yeah. It's more of just the thing of like really like that's the thing that they choose to focus on. Not just as Onizuka, but like the. I mean,
Onizuka is the main character.
Onizuka is the main character, so of course that would happen. And I like that they used the PE teacher as a representation of how fan service can be anywhere based on the perspective of the characters. Well,
yes, that's a great point. Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say that another thing about her character is that she's willing to be manipulated if she gets accepted into the group. So I don't think that she's actually like stupid or anything. I think it's more that she allows herself to be used like this because it gets her acceptance into the actual...
But when, you're spurned just one too many times, that can change.
Yep.
So, especially when the other group seems quite accepting, So the Onizuka may have just gotten a new ally, or he might soon.
Yeah, they were just moved from the antagonistic diplomatic scale to the neutral side of things.
Exactly.
And then all it needs is one more time where something can change like that. I do think, though, that this character arc that we'll have for her will lead to her being, at the very least, just confident enough to find actual friends on Onizuka's side.
Yeah, and if we wanted to look at the absolute like peak in my mind of how Onizuka could like basically just be the great teacher,
right,
is he could also help them to, Aizawa and Toriko basically patch up or start, I would say, a friendship.
So he would actually like put her back in some ways with Aizawa and all of them,
possibly,
and be like, yeah, you should all be friends and stuff. I think on some level he doesn't care whether or not they have the friendship dynamic thing working, but I think he does look out for the ones that are alone,
right?
In some ways. I don't know how this would translate, because I see this as somewhat being of a Yoshikawa incident.
Yes.
It's something that isn't that exact.
Extreme.
It's not a one-to-one comparison there. Also because this girl, we don't know really that much about her mental state. we know more, I would say, about her emotional state in that it hurt for this whole thing to
Yes.
happen.
Yes.
We know that they call her ditzy, and she made a ditzy mistake and stuff, and
Yeah.
she did kind of the, I'm so dumb.
Right.
But what that might actually be is something put upon her by her friends who might be a little bit smarter than her, but they call her slow enough, and she ends up
believes it.
believing it.
And
I think
acting accordingly.
Yeah, and do you think that that could be a good way for Onizuka to approach that aspect of things?
Yep.
And basically make her believe that, no, you are a smart person.
Yeah.
Like, who cares what they say about you?
Why would you let who you are be dictated by
others?
You know,
That's a great point.
Because he hates that. He hates that when it happens with the teachers, when you know they call people worthless trash. So the same thing, could be said for whenever students call each other worthless trash, or some equivalent.
Basically.
And I feel like this is very much also setting things up for when Aizawa gets her development and stuff, gets her basically focus time.
Right. She said that all teachers aren't trustworthy.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. In the context of this episode, they basically said, because of this, the teachers and the students are now... it's hard for the students to trust the teachers. And the vice principal was saying that we need to rebuild that trust.
Yeah.
That was very on the nose with saying, Onizuka, you're going to need to rebuild, in some ways, Aizawa's trust in teachers, in authority figures.
Right.
And this is something we've already speculated on why it could be this way with Aizawa, so we don't need to go into that and stuff.
Right.
But I think that they basically confirmed somewhat of our theory with her aversion to authority figures not being specifically just teachers, but just a general kind of people in authority thing.
Right.
I think that will be the next step of it, because I don't think this next episode is going to be an Aizawa character.
No, I don't think so.
Focused episode.
Yeah, but they're slowly building up to it, in some great ways. And I feel like this episode, just the fact that the PE teacher himself was another way to indirectly basically build up Aizawa, because it's showing that whole thing of not trusting teachers makes sense. She has a lot of reason to do that. There's probably something in the past that happened, but there's also stuff in the present that's happening right now.
Right.
And because
it's kind of how sorry, keep going.
Well, just the fact that the PE teacher stuck around this long.
Yeah.
And even after the whole panty thief thing, he didn't end up, getting arrested or whatever, because of course it was cleared up that it wasn't actually him, right? He didn't know about that. But the fact remains that, how much screen time did they basically have just alternating at the beginning of the episode from the PE teacher to the girls' underwear? Long time.
Yeah, it's basically showing that these guys aren't able to just manage themselves, just be like actual decent human beings with regards to how they're leering or how they're perceiving these young women,
managing their testosterone.
Yeah, and this is something that has nothing to do with them. They need to figure this out. So if this is something that is just happening on a passive, regular basis, of course Aizawa, imagine Aizawa being in PE for whatever last year or whatever with this guy.
Yep.
And he maybe he was like, hey, you're looking pretty good, and he slaps her in the butt.
Right.
She then maybe triggers herself back to maybe what we theorize, something to do with her dad or something.
Sure.
Maybe he was physically abusive or anything worse. And then she freaks out and goes on a I need to control my environment side of things. And then over the course of that year, she starts to develop her whole little complex with.
And even if it wasn't that, even if it wasn't something of it triggering that one, she's probably in his class. I don't know if they showed her specifically.
No, I don't think they showed her specifically.
But she could absolutely be in there. And if she was, then she would still be in there, I would think, unless he's for a different year or something. And that changes that.
Yeah, I think what it would be is that could be just a different PE class.
Yeah, it totally could be.
And it could be for a different year. But I think on some level, we can't throw out the idea that she at some point, because she's a third year, was in his class.
And the idea that it wouldn't necessarily have to be tied to some specific traumatic event, like even if we're wrong about the whole like, you know, idea of like backstory dad, you know, or relatives or whatever.
Right.
The idea that basically this is something she's observed as a regular occurrence that doesn't end up having a stop put to it, right?
Right.
So she's like, okay, I'll do it myself, right? You know, I don't have I don't have a weak stomach like everyone else seems to have.
Yeah,
you know,
I'll make them fear me.
I'll make them fear me.
Yeah.
I will destroy them, and I'll make sure that my territory is marked and no one encroaches on my territory, and it'll probably end up helping all the other students too. Now, she has ended up going very manipulative with it.
But that might have been where her intentions started out at.
Exactly.
She was generally thinking, I will be the protector of the school. And it's not just a women's thing. Like, if you notice, she thinks that the guys owe it to themselves to be on her side with all of this.
Because it's a students versus teachers kind of a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So it could also be something where, if you think about class 3-4, class 3-4 was the problem, right?
Yep.
But that doesn't mean that class 2-4 was also a problem.
Sure.
So what that means also is that there's the possibility that something is being fostered within the school system. This might be thinking way too deep into this.
Okay.
But so that students are getting put into 3-4, whether they're necessarily a problem student or not. And what it is it's that the students aren't bad, and what I'm trying to say is it's not a it's
the chicken and egg thing. It's the fact that that 3-4 has been labeled by the school as the problem class, right?
So if they put more
people in there, then
they're labeling them.
They're kind of labeling them as problem students, and it can be kind of a way to just discard them and forget about them. Like I don't know, this isn't a direct comparison, but it reminds me of the line in Count of Monte Cristo, where when the jailer is talking to him and he's like, I'm innocent. He's like, I know you're innocent. Why else would you be here? This isn't the prison where they send people that are criminals.
Right.
This is the prison where they send people that they're ashamed of.
Yeah.
You know, and that's it. If that is at all the sort of situation, at least at the start or whatever, with this school and this class, then oh boy. And that is
awesome.
Something that Onizuka will rip wide open, and I can't wait to see him do it. Like,
it will take probably a lot of time for him to figure out that that's what's happening,
and it's not something that can just be fixed and addressed overnight, because you know it's a lot of hurt and stuff that has been built up to this point.
Yeah, and also in some ways they've got to fill out a class. You know,
sure, yeah.
It's not that 3-4 is like eternally going to be a bad situation and stuff. Right. What they need to do is change the perception of 3-4 being the problem class, and instead have it just be great teacher Onizuka's class.
Yep. And in a way, this is kind of their last time they have to deal with the problem, in a good way and a bad way, because after this they're going to leave this school. Sure. They're in their third year, right? The next class 3-4 will be comprised of entirely different people. Mm-hmm. So, and then they just go on to high school, right? And then it'd probably be all kinds of, similar issues or whatever.
Yeah, and we might be thinking about this in a too broad of a scope, maybe. And saying that, no, it's just this year, and it's been a long year of, like, switching out teachers and stuff. Mm-hmm. I highly doubt that's the case. Because then they would talk about how students in other classes are, I don't know. I just don't buy that.
And it could also be something where, because this is their third years at this point, it could be something where they were a problem in like their second and first years, like it became a problem. Yeah. And because they were all in the same year, they just sort of still ended up congregating together. I don't know if they would still end up guaranteed to be in the same class, but yeah.
Right.
And they made short work of the teachers too. So
yeah. The teachers do decide, though, at least the school decides who goes into what class.
That's a good point. Yeah, so they might have kept them together specifically as like we want to keep all the problems in one place.
Right. One other thing that might be something to think about is you have the vice principal potentially being the one organizing that side of things, and the chairwoman is aware that this is why the problem exists. Gotcha. And that's why she chose Onizuka in the first place, was she was like, I'm not going to I'm not going to use half measures anymore.
Right.
I'm going to use something that's so over dramatic that we break it immediately. In some ways, at the expense of the students and the teacher that goes into this.
There's probably going to be some collateral damage here because she's bringing out the big guns, but she's like,
Right.
hey, that's what we need to do at this point.
Right, but I think it also might be tied to the fact that she's like thinking about the future. She doesn't want next year's 3-4 to come into the same culture of this 3-4. So she needs something dramatic of a culture shifter in Onizuka, and she's like, I identify that what he brings is just enough to do that, and if there's anything extra that's good, then that's awesome, and if there's anything extra that's bad, I'll handle it.
Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
We'll work that out. So I like that it could be either way. Like, it could be like multiple different ways of this whole thing, working out there, but the possibility that we're looking at, in some ways, a way to change a mini version of society at the cultural level via the introduction of basically a new
something different,
a new dominant force in the
that's a good way of putting it.
Like, because Onizuka is one that I would say for the most part is pretty laid back.
Oh yeah, and I mean,
like really,
I can definitely see that happening because the things that he's sort of like, the life he's lived and all that stuff, it's probably something where he wouldn't get tense very easily, especially with how, like, what a legend he was, and the fact that he's some crazy karate master and stuff. Like, like in a situation like this, there was that rough transition period of the pictures and everything, but he's kind of got it figured out more or less. Through. Yeah. I loved that part of when the PE teacher comes in and Onizuka just kicks right through the two wooden bats. It's just like pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, like,
I'm just like, whoa.
like you gotta wonder if he was basically saying, guys, you gotta figure out a way to avoid a fight. And they're like, show off your kung fu, your karate skills. And he's like, how would I do that? Here's some bats. Break
He's
them.
coming. Okay.
And then they're like, okay, time it. 3, 2, 1. Here he is, and kick.
Because here's the thing. Baseball bats. The wooden ones are not. They aren't made of plywood. They're heavy.
They are hollow, though.
They are?
Oh wait,
no,
they're not.
No,
that's the point.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
So
they're hitting a baseball that's traveling potentially
but
100 miles an hour.
They are angled, and if you put them between two like immovable objects, so that there's a focal point.
Yeah, I don't think he was breaking through the thickest part of them, but still.
But a rule of cool. It's Onizuka.
Yep.
He probably right after that point, 5 minutes it was like,
I don't know. Like, the human body can develop calluses that are pretty crazy that can protect you and stuff. I mean, he punched through that. I just keep thinking about that first episode where he punches through like metal, basically.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
He brings up the sledgehammer.
It's like he's
pretty freakishly strong.
Right. It's almost like one of those Mary Sue things for the protagonist.
Sure.
But they do it in a way where that's the whole point, and that kind of stuff is nothing.
That's the comedy.
That's the comedy, and the plot conflict does not revolve around that. Right.
Like, we know he's going to beat this guy
at the swimming even though there's no
competition.
real reason why he should be able to such a point that they don't even show him doing it. It's just, he wins, because he's Onizuka.
Yeah, in some ways, this episode, you could see that they were repeating it a bit too much with regards to him jumping out and be like, again, jumping out again. Oh, he's doping. I'll go get some eggs. And it kind of shifted up the whole thing there.
The eggs thing.
The egg thing was hilarious.
I loved that
because we've eaten silly things for the purpose
I've drank eggs before.
But that's not gonna help. But
the bit that was hanging out. Because here's the thing. Okay, with raw eggs. You want to get them to be the same consistency, right? Maybe add a little water, whatever, that way you can just drink them and not have to worry with basically slurping down the pieces basically of the yolk and the white and all that stuff that still sort of sticks together, right? Because then it's like you're swallowing a jellyfish or something, right? It's just bad. So the fact that there is that string, because sometimes there are these little strings in the white that will basically stick there, and those are the worst. So the fact that he had one hanging out of his mouth, it's like, oh, that's gross. Oh,
nasty.
Yeah.
but I don't know why he thought that was gonna help him. Yeah, maybe if you were, an hour before this and stuff, and you consumed a large amount of carbs and proteins.
Yeah, carbs would seem to be the thing
Carbs
you really
would
want
give you
for
the energy and stuff. You burned that in the first, hour or so, 90 minutes.
Yeah.
But
eat some oats. Yeah.
Yeah, but 5 minutes before
eggs,
a thing,
and that's fluid.
Those eggs
too.
are just gonna be sitting in your stomach.
Yeah,
going,
like I understand not really wanting to eat solids or eat before 30 minutes before swimming, right?
Right.
And the fact that he stuck to that so religiously means that changing that is a bad idea because your body won't be used to it. But the fact that it was liquid too, that's gonna slosh around. At least with solid, it's gonna stay in one place. Oh man,
so gross. I loved that part where, yes, it was a fan service moment, but he's like, oh, I remember. And then she's like, would you like to touch them? He's like, no. It's kind of like he's been cattle prodded in the past, few days or something, mentally for, being a little bit too aggressive with the women and the girls and stuff. And it was like he recoiled like he'd been trained not to. He's like, oh, bad touch. Don't do that.
Like he was about to touch hot iron. Or
right, and I appreciate that because in some ways, I think the joke premise of this whole story, this whole show, is fun to see contradicted here and there in slight, subtle ways to show, okay, he's more than that.
Yeah,
he is more than that.
Because, the idea is that he's someone who doesn't have his shit together, right? But he can still help people, and he can still have this big impact on the students. And here you see that, okay, he's learning, he's getting better.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's awesome.
All right, guys, this is a fun episode. Looking forward to the next episode. If you want to watch the next episode, though, right now, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there, watch full-length reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, where you can chat with us about stories or whatever. And if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.